Okay, so I feel a little goofy. I was sitting there reading, didn't realize the video even cut off on me, so I don't know where I left off at. But the basics of that little bit of chapter was just talking about when witchcraft really first started was when doctors and shaman and medicine men and women started trying to make medicines to help people with illnesses. Pretty much is what it was summing it up to, and that it started around 5,000 years ago. There's records of over 250 different plants and stuff that they use and all kinds of stuff. So I recommend just getting this book and reading it. But there's a little small spot that I'll read off right here. It is the birth of the witch, but the rest of it I'm going to speed up, so it might be really fast. I'm sorry if it's fast. Just try to listen closely. Okay, so as a self-identified foreigner witch, I am often asked where origin ends and witches begin. To me, it's nearly impossible to tense them apart. As I said before, I found my way to traditional witchcraft through Wicca. Many people believe they are one and the same, while some Wiccans are witches. Not all witches are Wiccans. Wicca is a modern religion born in England in the 1950s that is inspired by an electric blend of occult practices, both Eastern and Western. Wicca shares many things with traditional witchcraft, but the two have important whatever it is. Just as the history of Western herbalism is necessary to the practice, so too is the history of witchcraft necessary to the witch. It's good to know where or who died for our folkways, who suffered for our magic, who conversely, who thrived from its practice. Let's look at the brief history of witchcraft as it was practiced in history, as it is still today in Western world. Traditional witchcraft is an umbrella term under which many traditions lie. Generally speaking, it means a modern witchcraft tradition based on practices and beliefs of witchcraft from European and American from the 1500s to the 1800s. It's a unique it's a unique folk magic traditions and witchcraft beliefs of the land one lives on. These practices and beliefs are generally seen to the survived Christianity in record folklore, songs, and superstitions. Traditional witchcraft isn't just what witchcraft may have been like centuries to millennia ago, but what it was like. We know this through surviving documentaries, oral lore and folk practices that exist today in different cultures. What sets traditional witchcraft apart is that practitioners base their practices in the old laurels, chants, and ballads, the old stuff. Some traditional witchcraft traditions are culture-based, such as Cornish or Balkan witchcraft, while other traditions are based on writings of specific people such as Robert Coltrane and the Andersons, who founded the fairy tradition, F-E-R-I, I'm saying that's fairy, Frey maybe, tradition. There are many subtle differences between different traditions, many resolving around the personalities behind the belief sets. Modern traditional witchcraft largely did not exist as a term before the early 2000s. It was inspired by a group of witches writing in the 1950s to the 1970s, namely Robert Coltrane, Paul Hudson, Joe Wilson, Robert Graves, and Victor Anderson. People like E.J. Jones, Michael Hards, Miguel Jackson, Miguel Pinnick, Andrew Cumbley, and Daniel Silk, I don't know how to say that, have since 1980 gone on to help create what we know today as traditional witchcraft. Although many of these traditions are based on ancient practices, we still forge what it means to practice traditional witchcraft in modern world. When I sunk into studying this laurel, the ways in which I mentioned by forging and growing practicing into these traditions, I felt like a perfect fit, such as traditional witchcraft and our Sabbaths and holidays revolve around the agricultural year. If you know what that means, farming. So what better ways to celebrate the old ways than to live them? And she's absolutely right. Get ready for the next one.